Hi guys. So this is all about self-concept. You should be taking notes on this self-concept page that's in your packet. This is what it looks like. Question number one, what is self-concept? If we were in class, I'd be asking you that and you would be answering me back and we'd have a little discussion about it. But I've asked you to do this discussion online in a discussion. So be certain that you have completed that discussion before you watch this video. If you haven't watched it, I want you to stop right here. I want you to go back, answer the question on your packet, and then you can come back and start right here where you're at. So, self-concept cycles. This is number two. The self-concept cycle is something that's been around for a long, long time. And it starts out with as I see myself right here. So as a child sees themselves. So you should be writing this down in your notes, by the way. And if you have to stop and pause in between to take notes, then that's great. That's how online education works. Anyway, as I see myself, or as a child sees themselves, affects their actions. So how I see myself affects how I'm going to act. I think you could agree with that. Which then in turn and affects how others see you. So as others see me is because of my actions. And as others see me affects their reactions towards me. So others' reactions to me. Like I said, you should be taking notes on this. I would be writing it on the board, but here we are. And then, as you can see, since this is a cycle, that others' reactions to me is going to affect as I see myself. So as I see myself, my actions, as others see me, and others' reactions to me. So let's just take this and make an example out of it. So let's say, and this is the best little picture I could think of to use, is that if we label somebody, label a child as naughty. So you could write naughty in there, or you could, look at my little icon. But then they would see themselves as naughty. So what are their actions? Their actions are, and I would ask you, so you're thinking about this, I hope, in your head, their actions are naughty. They don't obey. They probably scream. They have temper tantrums. They hit. They make fun of, they poke fun at, they just do all sorts of things that they're not supposed to do. They don't take care of their things, they don't put things back where they belong, they don't do what they're asked. So those are their actions. So we see them, whether we're their parents or we're grandparents, family members, or teachers, friends, we see them as naughty because their actions are naughty. So our reactions to them is they're naughty. We kind of expect them to be naughty, which leads back to they see themselves as naughty. So they continue to have naughty actions. We see them as naughty. We react to them towards naughty, and they're naughty. Okay. So you can see that one. Let's do if I see myself as smart. Then my actions are, what do smart people do? Even at your age, what do smart people do? Some of you might say they sit at the front of the class. They talk to the teacher. You guys might call them brown nosers, or I can't think of other names, but their actions are smart. They do their homework. They do what they're supposed to do. These are the people that you want if you're a junior, or when you're a junior on your grant project, right? So their actions are smart. So we see them as smart, and we react to them as smart. So we expect them to do smart things because they've always acted and been smart, and so react to them that way, and it feeds into as they see themselves. So I hope you guys recognize this cycle is real. We could put anything in the middle here. We could put happy. We could put athletic. We could put depressed or anxious. We could put pretty. We could put ugly. We could put out of control, patient. We could put all sorts of things in the middle and watch how this feeds each other. As you see yourself is reflected in your actions. How others see you and how they treat you feeds back into how you are. So I want you to recognize that this begins all at home. And usually we take some time in class to do this, and I would ask you, where do you think this begins? But just for time's sake, and since we're not all together, I'll just let you know that this begins at home, and it also begins about here on the cycle. Some people think it starts here, but how do you really have any feelings about yourself when you really don't know anything? So, and it's kind of a catch-22. And it's not really so much your actions, it's really how parents and family members see the child and how they react to them that feeds this. And so if we react kindly, patiently, we respond to their cries, a lot of things that we talked about with bonding, that it will help lead to the child seeing themselves as important, as vital, as they can trust the world, and they can be trusted. And so it helps them start off and have a good positive self-concept cycle. And like I said, it begins at home with mom and with dad and family members. So hopefully you've written some of these things down. You've drawn a home, or you've written home on your self-concept cycle. You should have written this down. I'm going to share with you a couple other things about the self-concept cycle. And on your notes, where you just drew and labeled this cycle, is where you're going to take these notes. We're going to look at a couple more slides, and I want you to take some notes here, and then we'll do number 3. So this is still all number 2, where I want you to be taking notes. Okay. So one point that's really, really important is that you recognize that we as parents and caregivers and teachers want to label behavior and not the child. It's not the child you can see in this picture that's bad or dumb or lazy or worthless. It's their behavior, because when we label a child as such, that self-concept cycle leads back into I am this way, and they're not. It's behavior, and we want to guide their behavior to be positive. So instead of saying you are you're bad, or let's say mean, you're mean, instead of saying that, you want to say what you did was mean, how you acted was mean. How you treated mom or dad or that person or your friend or your sibling was mean. But we don't say you're mean. And you can put any other kind of adjectives in there, but we want to label the behavior and not the child in a negative way, because then they live out those labels that they've been given, which can be very, very unfortunate in many situations. Another thing I want you to write down about self-concept is, in this whole process of labeling the behavior and not the child, you can actually change it, and you can actually 180 the behavior. I would talk about in class, what's 180? Well, it's turning halfway. It's going back halfway. So instead of saying, you were mean, you'd say what you did was mean. And then I take that even a step further and say, you're way too kind to hit your sister, or you're way too smart to get such poor grades, or you're far too beautiful to act so ugly and mean. You see the difference, and you see how that can help to label the behavior, and then actually take the behavior and take it a step farther, so that you feed into the self-concept and you help to mold this child into a positive person and have a positive self-concept of themselves. So hopefully you wrote this down. You're way too, and it can be whatever you want to put in there, like I gave in the example. Another one that I want you to look at too is, there is an issue with this self-concept cycle, which I've taught this for years and years and years, and it took me until my adult life, well into my adult life, to realize the issues actually with this. If you guys take a look and really think about it, it's what others think of you that feeds in to make you feel the way you do about yourself and how you see yourself. And that, if you think about it, if you've read anything or done any counseling or anything like that, recognize that that is not really a healthy thing. Yes, it's a reality, and it happens when the child is young, but as the child grows, even from an early age, we want to stop this feeding of others' reactions and others, how they treat me, as how I see myself. Because if you don't, you're going to find yourself in a really dark, lonely, cold place someday if you can't believe in yourself for yourself, and not always being fed into you're this way, this is who you are. Well, maybe that's not who you are, or maybe it is, but you need to figure that out all for yourself. So what are ways that we do that? What we want to do is turn the behavior back to the child, and ask them, how do you feel about? So, for example, if a child is being mean to their sister, going back to the example I used a few minutes ago, your behavior and what you did was mean, and you're much too kind of a brother to treat your sister like that. And how does that make you feel when you realize that you hurt her feelings, that what you did was unkind? Does that make you feel very good? And if you start with those kinds of conversations when they're young, and then as they get older, turning it back on them. How did you feel about that? And it's not always about making mom and dad pleased and making mom and dad happy, or a teacher happy, or just one other person. It's about finding internal self-worth and internal feelings of, I did a good job. So like this little picture of this little girl giving these flowers to her mom. Great. Mom can say, great, these are beautiful. Tell me how you made them. Tell me about them. How do you feel about what such a good job you did on making those? A child gives you a picture or a painting that they've made. Oh, wow. Tell me about your picture. So the, oh, wow, getting down on their eye level, talking to them, having, and intonations that are like we would have talked about bonding, but hopefully you got them from the PowerPoint. But and so you're saying, great job, but tell me how you feel about it. Your child has a report card, good or bad. Tell me how you feel about these grades. Sometimes you can work very hard and get a B out of a class and you feel great about it, or even a C. Whereas parents would look at that, wow, what's wrong with that? Because A is the only thing that's acceptable. So turning it back on the child, listening to the child, helping them have their own feelings about their own behavior, takes it from being all about mom or all about dad or all about both of them or all about what the family feels and thinks, and more about being intrinsic inside the child, so that they have these feelings and do things based on the feelings that they feel inside themselves. So the last one, let's move to number 3, ways to promote self-concept. Probably going to have to stop and pause this video as you watch it, because I'm just going to go through it quickly. But one is help children have successful experiences. When they feel like they're successful, and yeah, you feel great. You feel great about things. Wow, I was successful at that. On the other side of that is when they're unsuccessful, because they won't always be successful. And please don't only provide successful experiences. But in those times when children are unsuccessful at something or feel like they can't do something, help them see the positive in that and what they gained from that. Maybe they lost the game or something like that. But what did you gain, and how did you learn from that? How did you gain from that experience or from that opportunity? Another one is to avoid too much competition, because with competition, there's always a winner and always a loser. I talked a little bit about this in class, so hopefully you know my perspective on that. Definitely give them choices when they feel like they're powerful enough, even at a very, very young age, to make choices. It helps to feed their self-concept and their ability to make choices in the future and feel good about them. Also, this is always important, listen and talk with the child about lots and lots of different things that helps them feel positive and they learn from you. Give them meaningful praise, eye contact, touching, a special voice. And I would also add to that, don't just give the praise, because especially if it's a, hey, good job, and that's all you say about it, it just, nobody gives a crud. But if you can say, hey, nice job, and give them eye contact and explain why you think they did a good job, and then say to them, how did you feel about it? And let them tell you. And then the last one, be a good role model of your own positive self-concept. So make sure you're showing that you have a positive self-concept, that you feel good about yourself and what you do, that you're not perfect, and you do make mistakes. We all do. And things are hard and things are difficult, but we feel good enough about ourselves that we can learn from our mistakes. We can strive and work hard and be successful at the things that we're doing. And those things all help to promote a positive self-concept. And one last little thing just for you guys, take a moment to appreciate how amazing you are. Yes, you, because you are amazing. Take a minute and just for a minute, sit and reflect about the great things that you are and the great things that you can do, and all of the great things that you have, and be grateful for them. It'll make a difference in your day. Thanks, guys. Have a good day.